Sounds like I'm in a mistake. Early in my situation, it would probably start too early. Don't just properly to get backlashes. Try an area where maybe
street furniture to achieve the same.
it's standard that you can really like hiding the trees around bushes and sort of in the make it maybe in 20 years I won't.
Do you want to start considering people who are staying in range? Well, yeah. What will happen next is good luck with that because patients will go a little way, so that's spread along. Well, one thing is around that's not right. That's in framing doing sustained here, so that when they decide.
Okay, can you all start to put your feedback onto the sheets, and then we'll invite you up one by one to give feedback from the individual tables. Give you a couple of minutes and then we'll start. Thanks.
Design idea. I actually think probably your one having sideways crossings halfway between carriageway and footpath. So we're going to try putting footpath sideways. We're concerned about spacing or integration. Second one. Consistency of
The reason why that might happen is we could buy space.
yeah, so that's second problem. If you're happy with that? Yeah. Yeah, then he knows. Yeah. So we've got consistency.
Well, actually, so they have suggested 60 some it's treatment here, and I don't know how consistency is my treatment. For example, this street right here is very nice. I figured that it's going to be the same trees and still have a nice cycle.
The other one probably is sticking the trees between.
Right. So I don't know if that's exactly what I was. Okay, hold on. So we're going to say road width. It's one of those straight roads. We use near Greenland Road. Yeah. That's their tree planting. Yeah, we can put it more. Cycleway. Okay, right, okay.
Concerns, yes, I would say your 3-lane bit really is a concern.
Just approach. Yeah. 3-lane approach.
Okay, is everybody out there? Okay. Okay, if everybody just... I was chased by one table who apparently provided some new ideas at the last minute. Okay, Simon, is your table ready to pick up? Yeah? Okay, can somebody come up from this table, please?
Yes. The top design ideas.
That's how I spell aesthetics. Appearance.
Inbound buses to be routed via Cowley Road dogleg with bus stop for Science Park on this at Cowley Road junction to stop it holding up everyone on Milton Road. Replace the Cowley Road Milton Road Science Park junction with a roundabout. Remodel the junction to use the dogleg as part of a gyratory and close the right turn at Cowley Road. Everyone has to get it. At the Green End Road junction, to put in a total cycle pedestrian crossing phase with all vehicular traffic held, including the filter. Remove the refuges as they would no longer be needed, and also the silly cycle track that goes through the middle of the road at the moment. And then put in green the public realm, removing clutter, and westbound bus lane so that the filter can be retained for vehicular traffic. That's that one. And the design concerns, when cycle lanes cross side roads joining Milton Road, there should be give-way road marking to allow turning cars to have priority. Otherwise, at peak times, road traffic could be held up by heavy cycle traffic. Milton Road is too narrow for the opposite priority to be applied, but this is debatable. The drainage on the south side of Milton Road, from the Co-op to Fraser Road, is poor. A large lake also appears at the junction of Arbury Road and Milton Road after heavy rain. So storm drains appear to be inadequate, and the drains themselves need to be cleaned more often. And encourage the Science Park to adopt more sustainable transport modes so it reduces its demand on road space for cars that is only in use at peak times.
Thank you very much.
Right, the footpaths and road crossings. What we thought about this is that we, for the people who can't see too well, we need to know when they can cross these side roads. So with the detail we thought we would suggest is that there'll be a slight slope down from the pavement where it crosses the road, but it wouldn't go straight down to the road level. So there'll be a sort of half level across the road, and that would give an indication to both the vehicles coming out that there's a change, and also help the be partially sighted to know when they were reaching the road with a slope down with something studded in pavement within it. Also on the side roads, we want a consistent approach to all the side roads, so all the details would be the same. There would be one different one and varying versions. With the reduction, we wanted to reduce the, that comes on the second section. The tree planting, we would advise that there should be a long-term answer to this, and that the existing trees may not be the best long-term answer, because there should be a consistent plan, long-term plan to replant. And the position of these trees, we feel, could be between the footpath and the cycleway. There's room to put a tree on that border, take up very small space, and it wouldn't affect either the cycleway or the footpath. It could be contained and still be hard paved around it. And also the roots would have to be dealt with so they didn't come back through the pavement. So you have a system of planting, we have a cylinder which directs the roots down further than the level of the pavement. Design concerns, we thought it was odd that part of the road had 3 lanes for vehicles, whilst all the rest only had 2 lanes. And we thought that the 3-lane section could be reduced to 2 lanes over that position which was near the Green End Road, and that this would give more areas for doing things at either side of the road, such as tree planting. We wouldn't want to have got too many guardrails or street furniture, and so we minimise all the street furniture and actual bits and pieces which go along the roadway.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Can we work that way around? So Tony, someone from your table?
I'll be right there.
Hello, thank you. Top 3 design ideas. Side road junctions. Walking and cycling should have priority over turning traffic, for example, with Copenhagen-style continuous footways and cycle lanes, with proper provision for people with visual impairments. We suggest for the Goldenheim junction, which is a main junction, a roundabout with walking and cycling priority crossings on each arm. Bus stops should have a shelter in the waiting area that is next to the carriageway where they're going to get on the bus. So they're right next to the bus when it pulls up. And they should all the stops should have shelter. The separation between people walking and cycling should continue past bus stops, because we're hopefully in the plan that you come up with, there will be separation between people walking and cycling, and that should continue. And there should be a zebra crossing of the cycle lane when bus passengers need to get between the pavement and the bus shelter area. And that crossing should be apparent to people who have visual impairments as well, using tactile paving and such. Bus stops and crossings should be in reasonably close proximity. Wherever they do end up getting placed, there should be a crossing near the bus stops. There needs to be a crossing and a path for children going between Kendall Way and Ramsden Square. And then moving on, at side road junctions, we need to ensure that there's visibility between all the people passing, the people walking and cycling across the junction and the drivers turning. Needs to be good visibility. We need to allow two-way cycle travel, well, from at least Ramsden Square down to Asham Road, on the northwest half of the road because of the schools, but we do prefer two-way all the way to the busway because we have concerns about two-way cycle lanes ending prematurely or ones that are intermittent being confusing and hard to use. And finally, there must be good, properly placed trees. We prefer between cars and people, so between the carriageway and the cycle lane / pavement. must be part of any plan, and we accept that many existing trees will have to be replaced. But we want them to be replaced with good trees that will last a long time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tony, something from your team?
The first one was that we find it very difficult to cross the Golden Hind junction, so we would like it to be a roundabout with cycleways and pedestrians on the edge, a bit like what Matt said. Visibility needs to be good at the junctions all the way down. We're concerned about the lack of information about where the utilities are, and we feel when we know this we could advise better on the position of trees, etc. There is a problem if they go ahead with bus lanes before the congestion is dealt with. The road would be best if it's segregated in a bi-directional way, the whole cycleway, the whole of Milton Road. It would just make it much smoother to ride. Passengers need to be aware about some of the buses because the C will stop in certain places and that the park and ride will pick passengers up after 7 o'clock. And I don't think a lot of people are aware of that. Outside the houses, there needs to be a verge for the bins, the BT cabinets, etc. And that will keep them out of the way. This will also give a little bit of extra space so that residents can get out of their drives with good visibility, which is a problem if the cycleways especially are very, very close to the residence area. Milton Road Residents Association have a big concern about the replacement of trees, if any have to be removed. When the original bus lane was added, the Transport Department and councillors sent letters promising to replace the trees that were lost and to replace damaged and dying trees as that happened, and this has never been done, and there is a matter of trust which we're, don't know. And then the last one is the drainage. Because there are no dropped curbs in some places, cars have been driving on footpaths to their properties, and this damages the footpaths and leads to flooding.
Okay, table at the back, please.
The top three design ideas. There's no need for an entire bus lane between Woodhead Drive and King's Head Road. And 50 metres is enough approaching the junction. Point 2, there should be a better interconnection between the post office, the pub and the co-op, and perhaps a pedestrian and cyclist cross at the same time. Point 3 is planting trees and verges adjacent to cycleways to protect cyclists from traffic. And the top 3 design concerns. Number 1 is Greenham Road and Milton Road corner at the north side, where the path there is too narrow at present and is used in both directions by pedestrians and cyclists. Point 2, and Kendall Way Woodhead Drive pedestrian and cyclist route is awkward because the crossing is a little out of the way in both directions really. And point 3, there is a serious need for greatly improved landscaping to make Milton Road an attractive entrance and a good thoroughfare to live on.
Okay, table at the back on the right, please.
Okay, so we spent a lot of time talking about the Green End Road, the Golden Hind Junction, and couldn't come to an agreement. There's one view that it should be, as being discussed, a Dutch style roundabout or a square about we were looking at, the square version of the roundabout, but with segregated cycle and pedestrian crossings on all arms. The other view being leave as is, but you do need to deal with right turns for cycles. It's a very exposed right turn, particularly going north on Milton Road, turning into Greenend Road. Second design idea is again related to that junction, is the left turn lane heading south on Milton Road, turning left into Greenend Road. The feeling that should be left only, simply to avoid the inevitable congestion of two lanes going into one for the straight ahead option. And surprisingly, Mr. Busman, Andy Campbell, did agree with that the buses can deal with that, a left turn only lane. The third option was out at Cowley Road junction, the junction opposite the Science Park junction. The feeling that that should be closed, ideally, because a major source of delays is that junction as a result of light phases and as a result of the emphasis given to getting traffic into the Science Park. The feeling was by closing Cowley Road there's a lot of scope to reduce delays at that junction. Then a more specific design option was at the Kendall Way bus stop number 11. Firstly, that the width there allows space to move the bus stop away from the cycle lanes and the shared space, so it should be segregated for cycles and pedestrians, swap the trees with the cycle lanes so the pedestrians are light into the space of the tree line. But again, a split view, but my view that we should have a floating bus stop there with enough space to do it. And then three design options repeated really from last week. Firstly, a need for extra drainage on the east side of Milton Road, around Union Lane to Fraser Road. That side roads should all have cycling pedestrian priority, so with the giveaway stop line set further back, and that we should swap trees and cycle lanes where possible, so the trees are next to the carriageway and separating the cyclists from the cars. Three design concerns: the one I mentioned, the right turn for cyclists on Milton Road on the Golden Line junction, particularly heading north on Milton Road, turning right into Greenend Road, very unproductive. So if the junction's kept as is, that needs fixing. The bus stop 13, that's the one just north of Milton Road, not just north of Greenend Road, excuse me, the southbound on Milton Road needs more space. It's far too congested there for the bus stop to be proposed, and shared space is not going to work. Maybe consider moving the bus stop. And finally, a thought about the bus lane where there's two bus lanes opposite the busway junction, that there's scope to do something a lot better there if we're removing one of those bus lanes. The feeling that the east side one is probably going to be removed, and maybe that means you should move the whole carriageway across and give more space on the west.
Okay, next table please. Sorry, people sitting at the front. Okay, thanks everybody for coming. We've got quite a lot of work to do now with our consultants to gather all the information from the workshops. Obviously we've been working on it as the workshops have been completed. There's a need to collate all of that, develop common themes from it and start to input that into some design ideas. It's a very tight schedule. The next stage will be to report all of this to the local liaison forum that meets next Wednesday in Shire Hall. So thank you everybody for coming. We've got two further workshops to take place. They'll look at the challenges to some of the design ideas as they emerge, and also the mitigation measures that may or may not be needed as a result of these schemes and the impacts that these schemes have on side roads particularly. So again, thank you everybody for coming. Any further questions?
What are the dates of the workshops?
I think it
Where are the dates of the workshops?
it's 20. Yeah, I think so.
I got it.
Invitations have been sent out, haven't they? Yeah, okay.
The meeting of the LLF at Shire Hall on the 19th is open to everybody, so please do notify all your colleagues and residents association members and residents and so on.
Just reminding, sorry, mate. make sure, please, that you leave your annotated plans or any other notes that the groups have produced with the facilitators so they can let us have them at the end of the session. Thank you.
Yeah, when you show me, you don't have to wait down. No, it's okay.
I think it did actually, yeah. I think